the Straits Times. My question is to all three candidates. The Workers' Party over the weekend unveiled its manifesto saying that it wants to have a first world parliament so that there'll be more debate over policies. Can you weigh in on that? And in particular to Mr. Heng, you were a senior policy maker. You went through different ministries and organizations. Can you share how there was sufficient debate or not within the ranks, within the system? Could you share some examples? And perhaps looking ahead, is there more room for improvement in that sense?
Well, Shay, thank you for the questions. I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the sort of governments that we want, the type of government that will allow us to sustain Singapore's success, to be able to generate jobs for our people, to be able to raise the standard of living, and to make Singaporeans feel engaged in our societies. There are many different models of doing this, and if you look at all around the world, there are different ways that has been done. In many places, as I mentioned earlier, the politics has become so divisive that the right policies do not get implemented, do not get adopted. So I think in our case, my view is that there is a better model, which is one of constructive engagement, where a strong government is able to take in the views and feedback from a wide variety of sources and to bring Singaporeans together, to work more closely together to achieve a better future for us. And in that regard, I think that I feel is the way for us to go into the future. You asked about examples whether there were policy debates. I would say all the time, all the time. And not just policy debates about particular issues, but a great deal of thinking about the scenarios of the future, the challenges of the future, and what we need to do to get it right. If you look, for example, at the work that was done on the Economic Strategies Committee, it was an extensive consultation process and also internally extensive debates about those recommendations, about which are the ones that are appropriate for Singapore and which are the ones that are not.
Would any of you want to give a comment on this particular question?
I'll take a stab at it. I think, with the ascendancy of the Western world in the last maybe 100 years, it has become a little bit of a conventional wisdom that, maybe a two or multi-party system is the right thing to do. For me, I'm not that convinced, because last week, the US almost couldn't pass their budget, which is something to be passed by October last year. And they could only pass it after the Obama administration made last-minute changes to the tune of $380 billion. And that was on a Friday, and the very last minute. And this nearly brought the stoppage of work of a lot of government departments. So I think the question that we have to ask ourselves is, the Democrats are not necessarily going to, fight for the Republicans' candidate, or the Republicans are not going to fight for Obama. They're going to make themselves look good a lot of the time. So a lot of real politicking goes on behind the scenes. Is that something that we want for Singapore?
Thank you, Shane, for the question. With regards to the Workers' Party manifesto on building of a first world parliament, when I was a university student, I was a student of politics and international relations, and I had the opportunity to visit a number of countries to observe their parliaments in action, as well as research on a particular country in our region. And my observations over the past 4 years as a student has been that even with some semblance of a multi-party system, many times there's gridlock in policy, there's gridlock in budgets, there's disagreement over very minute details, all because of difference in policy ideals, because of difference in ideology. And at the end of the day, if these are first world parliaments, then the people who suffer from the gridlock are citizens of these countries. And so what we have in Singapore so far has been a system that works. It's a system that has been consultative. It's a system that looks far-sighted into the future to ensure that there are policies in place that not just look after this present generation of Singaporeans, but to make sure that we have a basis for future development and future growth. Thank you.